The number 21 Missouri Tigers just dropped their second loss of the season on the road at Bryant-Denny Stadium to the number 15 Alabama Crimson Tide, losing in shutout fashion, 34-0. We're in the witching hours here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. My name is Michael Stamps, one of your on-site reporters for Missouri Tigers on SI. Today for the Tigers loss, and we made the trip up from Columbia, and definitely was not the end result anybody was looking for. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, it's hard to draw really any positives away. Brady Cook leaves at halftime with an apparent hand injury that he suffered after throwing the ball. Apparently hit his hand on somebody else's helmet or something of that nature. Came back in, but we didn't see much of him after that. And before the end of the first half, Drew Pine stepped in and was the quarterback the rest of the way. Drew Pine really didn't find or catch any sort of momentum at all in the second half he played and the final two drives of the first half, and obviously he throws that interception right into the hands of Malachi Moore, which, if we're being honest, completely turns the momentum in the favor of the Crimson Tide. Malachi Moore runs it back to the Mizzou 35 and ends in a touchdown for the Crimson Tide. So you look back on that play, and that's maybe a momentum killer. He throws two more interceptions, one to Bray Hubbard, throwing to double coverage, looking for Luther Burden. The other intended for Brett Norfleet, gets picked up by Quay Russaw, linebacker. And yes, the Alabama defense was all over everything, even when Brady Cook was in the game. Finished with under 50 yards, only 7 completions, really only could find short completions. His longest reception of the game was to Norfleet on a 3rd and 18, I believe, only picked up 13 yards on the play. That was the longest play down the field for the Tigers. The running game didn't get very involved. Marcus Carroll finished with 80 yards. Jamal Roberts with around 71 yards, both on 17 carries. So you look at the yards per carry there, and that's not efficient by any means. No touchdowns, obviously. No real scoring opportunities in general besides the end of the game on a 4th and goal. Alabama brings out their starting defensive unit to make sure the shutout stays alive, and they walk away with that shutout. So offensively, not really much to take away positively there. Maybe their performance of Jamal Roberts, a career high in rushing yards, but again, efficiency-wise, 17 carries, that yards per carry, does not add up well. Defensively, yes, they allow 34 points in this one, but at halftime, that number was only 13, and momentum carried for the Crimson Tide offense, and eventually they broke them and couldn't get those stops anymore. But in the first half, Jalen Milroe looked limited. The running game looked limited, only 56 total rushing yards in the first half. They didn't allow Jalen Milroe to really break away any massive runs. Couldn't get the passing game going much. I mean, we didn't see Ryan Williams really at all the entire game, but especially in that first half. Jim Miller scores that touchdown at the end of the first half, but he didn't get going until the second half. And again, by the third, fourth quarter, momentum was completely in the favor of the Crimson Tide, and there was just not much that the Missouri defense could do. But again, in that first half, you have a guy, Johnny Walker, finishes with 2 sacks. They were able to get to Miller a little bit, contain the running game. The secondary looked good. I can remember off the top of my head a couple of pass deflections from Toriano Pride, from Jaden Norwood, from Nick DeLoach, especially DeLoach, come to mind with a couple third down stops. So those guys have a good first half, but again, in the second half, Alabama's just able to break them. Justice Haynes breaks off a couple big runs. We saw Richard Young right behind me. I was right in this corner over here. Richard Young breaks down a nice run down the field for the Crimson Tide and brought him to the 2-minute warning. Didn't mean much, but a big run, still a big run from the sophomore there. Again, I'm struggling sitting here trying to tell you guys what we can take away that is positive from this game without being overly negative. I mean, looking ahead, you still have 4, probably 5 games, or definitely 5 games in the bowl game, but the outlook heading into a game against Oklahoma, against South Carolina, against Arkansas, who are 3, now, I don't want to say middle of the pack, but kind of those intermediate SEC teams, those games look a little bit more challenging. And coming into the season, it was, those high playoff hopes for the Missouri Tigers, and we don't know that for sure yet, but the odds of that are looking more limited by the day. Unless Missouri is to go ahead and win those next 4 games comfortably, it's hard to imagine a world where Missouri cracks into that 12-team playoff. Crazier things have happened, and Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, and teams have dropped games. Ohio State almost lost earlier today, so it's not impossible that teams lose. But right now for the Missouri Tigers, it looks unlikely. If I'm going to draw one big takeaway from this game, it is the outlook of this offensive unit. It is abundantly clear that Drew Pine is not comfortable yet in this offense and is not ready to advance the ball down the field through the air. If Nate Noel comes back, that was another missing piece obviously today. If Nate Noel comes back and Marcus Carroll's hitting his runs and Jamal Roberts can contribute in the passing game and break off runs as well, and Nate Noel can contribute, maybe this team can win on the ground. And if Brady Cook's not playing, you're missing his dynamic running ability. You're missing his ability to throw the ball down the field. And that's just such a massive part of this offense. It's hard to envision a world where Missouri's able to go on and win 4 or 5 more games if they can't get the ball down the field, throwing the ball. My partner Joey Van Zoomer and I have tried to stay away from the quarterback controversy. People saying they want Drew Pine in a quarterback to throw someone else in there instead of Brady Cook. I don't want to say they're getting their wish now because, we hope Brady Cook is okay, but it appears right now Drew Pine is going to be the guy if Brady Cook is out. And I think we saw J.R. Blood on maybe 2 plays, and he ran the ball twice and didn't get anywhere effectively at all. So the quarterback situation looks dicey. On the positive side, the Tigers are running into a bye week this coming week, which we said this last week, maybe, a couple weeks ago after the Vanderbilt game, that maybe this is the best opportunity for a bye week. I can't imagine a better time for a bye week than right now after this game, because this one's going to require a lot of reflection, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And if Brady Cook really is going to be dealing with injuries for the rest of the season or for the foreseeable future, Drew Pine's going to get 2 weeks to effectively get those first-team reps in the offense. It appears as if Drew Pine did that this week. He got first-team reps in the offense. He just didn't come out and perform today. If that's the case, if it is going to be Pine who's playing quarterback for the rest of the season, or again for the next couple of weeks, at least until we see the Tigers take on Oklahoma here, those first-team reps are going to be very important. So that's something we'll monitor. Injuries as a whole, that did not help the case by any means. We saw guys like Drayden Norwood go down. We saw Marvin Burks go down. We saw Connor Tollison go down. Burks entered back in the game. Tollison, I was making my way down here, so I don't know if he did. And Drayden Norwood hit the floor twice and did not look in the greatest shape. Obviously, there was a whole bunch of injuries prior to this game. People were bumped up to probable and then eventually played. It was Nate Noel and Mookie Cooper who were out today. We asked head coach Eli Drinkwitz after the game what the status was of Mookie Cooper. Didn't get anything on that. Didn't get much information on the status of Brady Cook as well while we're at it. Said they evaluated his throwing hand at halftime and did not feel comfortable bringing him back into the game. It's an interesting point if you think about it, but nonetheless, they're going to preserve his safety. Positively, he looked okay running the ball. He maybe was shaken up once or twice, but he was able to roll out a little bit and do his thing there. So injuries can continue to be an issue, something we keep an eye on for this Missouri Tigers team. Another reason that is perfect for a bye week heading into weeks 10 and 11 here. Excuse me. I'm going to give you guys a player of the game too, because I think that's worth mentioning. And we talked to him after the game. It was Johnny Walker, finishes with 2 sacks, and it's hard to draw someone that had a stand-up performance because of the nature of the defeat. But in that first half, Johnny Walker was a guy who kept this team alive, and not a lot of teams have been able to get to Jalen Milroe, pressure him, and keep him contained in the pocket and sack him. Johnny Walker did that twice. Key reason that the Tigers, without any offensive production, were able to hang around and limit the amount of scoring and damage Alabama could do on the defensive side of the ball. So Johnny Walker finishes with 2 quarterback sacks. Gonna be my player of the game. That's all I have from you from the beautiful and still kind of loud Bryant-Denny Stadium. Go ahead and give us the attention. Follow and tune in to the rest of the coverage that Missouri Tigers on SI is going to have both tomorrow and this coming week following the Tigers' 34-0 loss to Alabama.